I think everybody is in need of peace, to feel good, to feel satisfied, to not be anxious for anything. But it seems that type peace is forever fleeting, and it's like the only time we have peace is when we make an acquisition. If I can just get that weed, if I can just get that alcohol, if I can get that house, that car, that job, that person, I'll be satisfied. But as we all know, folks, with all those things, with that weed, with that alcohol, with that house, with that car, with that job, with that acquisition of relationship, peace is ever fleeting. And we were raising my daughter and speaking to her throughout her life, age appropriate lessons. And I think she was in about the 8th or 9th grade, and I would be telling her about the next thing. I was telling her about boys, And I said, there's always a next thing. I said, you might find a little boy, he wants to sit next to you. Then what's the next thing? He might want to hold your hand. What's the next thing? He might want to put his arm around you. What's the next thing? Maybe kiss your neck. What's the next thing? Kiss your face. What's the next thing? Well, But then after that, what's the next thing? Someone else. How many of us have experienced that? And you know what I'm talking about. But it's the same reality in basically everything in our lives that we're seeking, that will bring us joy, that will bring us satisfaction. It doesn't, because external things don't bring internal peace. And we think they do, just like that little boy. Oftentimes, boys, girls, men, women don't seek to fool anyone, don't seek to break anyone's heart. But they're consumed in this journey, this attempt to acquire happiness, the attempt to acquire peace of mind. And in their mind they think, if I can just get this person, I'll finally be satisfied. And so how many times have we seen that play out? Why? It's not really the individual's fault. They were just fooled into believing that their peace of heart, their peace of mind was external. Can be acquired through an external acquisition, and it can't. That peace has to be there. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I think this is very important. Because every human being, this is what we live through. This is what we go through. Seeking to find happiness. And too often we think it's through acquisition of things. Those are external. It's not external. It's internal. That peace has to be there. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. How to get that peace. And how important it is, because we're just not happy. And we want to be happy. Life is too short not to be happy. So let's just redefine what peace is and how do we find it. For me, and the problem is, I think, is that we do have like religious folks or political folks or gurus or all these folks giving out advice and about how to find happiness, how to find peace. But they themselves don't have that happiness, don't have that peace. I've known too many of them. Okay? And so you're looking at me right now, and I'm suggesting, I'm offering the same thing. And so you might be saying in your mind, well, what? How does he figure he can give us something that the others can't? I don't know what to tell you. I could tell you, go to my YouTube channel and just go back and just look at all the things that I've shared, that even aren't even, obviously related to peace. Just my perspective on life and things. I'm telling you, it's peace. I've been doing these programs for like over 21 years now. On YouTube, local cable, with the social media craze, all over social media. This is what I do, simply try to share. And maybe because I've come from a place, I was raised in places where I didn't have this insight either. I was just maybe an innocent person, not an innocent from not doing ill things, but innocent-minded and thinking that acquisition, or that certain kind of buzz, or that certain individual, that certain relationship, that certain car, the certain job, whatever was going to bring me that peace of mind. And I wasn't that deep thinking to even consider that I didn't get that peace of mind. I think like many folks, I just embraced that accomplishment, that happiness, that joy, as fleeting as it might have been. And I see the same situation maybe a better example is maybe playing the number, playing the lottery number every day. Some people play it like every day or maybe every week. However, I don't play the lotto. But so what do you have there? I mean, the reality is odds are you're not going to win. And if you do win, you're not going to win anything substantially. And if you continue playing, you're going to end up losing more than you've won, okay? So what is the allure then of playing the lottery? Even the small one, the pick 3 or pick 4 or the big ones or whatever. It's that you might be broke. And you might recognize how unhappy you are being broke, and you consider how happy you are if you won. So you play. Now before you played, you're kind of despondent, you're kind of negative because your financial situation might be kind of jacked up. But once you play that number, and in between that time and the time the number is pulled, you're full of anticipation and excitement. If I win, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So you have a reprieve from your lack of peace in between the time you play the number until that number is pulled. And then when the number is pulled and you don't win, you're back into your negativity again. But you play again and you have that, again, some peace in anticipation of what if I win this next time. So it's almost like we're living external time by time with the hope and anticipation that we're going to win. And so it's not deep sadness, it's not a negativity, it's the excitement of the possibility, and I'm going to win, and what am I going to do with this money? And so that's not any real peace. That's like a pseudo-temporary peace that we're giving ourselves so we don't have to wallow 24/7 in negativity. That's not peace. As a matter of fact, I could get to a point where you could be addicted to playing that number and then there's no peace at all. And it's having the exact opposite effect. And so what I'm sharing with you today and what I want to keep drumming into each of us is to really recognize that peace is internal and it can be attained. Okay. Now we can't chase peace because you can only chase what's external. Okay. And so we think of all these things that, well, if I could just have this or if I could just have that, all these things I know will bring me peace. Usually things that we don't have. And you really do need a car. You really do need a place to live. You really do need clothes to wear. And you might need a relationship as well. So these aren't things that you really don't need. But what I'm suggesting is these things won't bring you peace. Okay? Peace of mind. And that's why we have so many, when you look at the divorce rate, among married people, they thought this was the one. They give these vows and they're honest. I'm in love, and this is it. I finally found it. My soulmate and all this, and not long after, the divorce comes around the corner. Why is that? Because again, this individual figured this would be their peace. And oftentimes both individuals, this will be my peace. I finally got my man, I finally got my woman, and that'll be it. But unfortunately it's not, and they find that out after the fact. Because there's always that next thing, okay? When you have a true peace of mind or a peace of heart, or you're functioning in a place of perfect peace, there is no need for the next thing. And you're satisfied where you are. Okay? Now if you're not, don't get me wrong, now let me qualify that. Being married, I've been married for almost 28 years now, in about a couple of weeks. And so I'm not saying marriage is easy, but I'm saying you realize that when you are at peace, then you have the opportunity to make your environmental situations better. But if you're simply not at peace and thinking your environmental things are the things that's going to bring you peace, you'll never get there. Okay? And so that peace is what? Well, we chase how do we chase peace anyway? We chase it, of course, financially. We try to buy things to bring us peace. We chase it relationship-like when we're trying to appropriate people, acquire people into our lives that we believe are the perfect thing for us. That's going to bring me peace. So financially, relationally, politically, this political party, the reason things are terrible is because of that political party. If we can just get into office, we'll be okay. But there's no peace in that. Look at the political environment even that we're living in today. Look at the people who won. That should bring peace. But aren't they angry all the time? Aren't they mad all the time? Evidently, that peace didn't come in their political. So politically, we chase political things thinking that will bring us peace. so many things, social things. If I can just live in this neighborhood, if I can just have that house, if I can just get these people out of my neighborhood or send the immigrants home, all these things. And what I believe is it's the things that we attach ourselves to, like the causes, a lot of the negative causes that we are adamant about to make sure they come to fruition. It's just like that time in between playing that lotto number and it being pulled. There is the positiveness or the good feeling or the pseudo good feeling is that you feel that you're on a mission that's going to eventually bring you that peace of mind or that happiness, and it just doesn't happen. It just never ends. It's because it's almost like drinking, dying of thirst in the middle of the ocean and then drinking that ocean water, which looks delicious, but finding yourself, because of the salt in it, getting thirsty and finally dying of thirst in the middle of a vast ocean because your thirst will never be realized. Okay? And I'm just suggesting today, as we're talking about peace of heart, peace of mind, peace of existence, and it's internal. It's very important to recognize that peace is internal. And so we're going to talk about how to get that peace. And you know what's very interesting? Most of the stuff we talk about on this program, the answer is so easy. And the way we try to satisfy ourselves, it's more difficult, okay? Financially, it'll cost you. Relationally, they're expensive. In every aspect of life, chasing the peace is expensive. But the reality on how to actually get there requires no expense at all, okay? And it's simply a mindset. Just determine. Recognize you will not find peace through things. So let's just start there and figure it out. Peace is internal. So how do we get that peace? To get peace, even as we read, even in Scripture, pray for peace. And to religious people, spiritual people, people who are believers in whatever religion you are, if you are praying for things, quit praying for those things and cut out the middleman. Get right to the point. It's not really that you need this car, need this house, need this relationship. It's that you have determined that if you can get this thing, you will acquire this peace. So quit praying for the things and simply pray for the peace. Okay. Come on, man. For whether you're religious or not. But the religious folks, pray. Pray for that. And for whether you're religious or not, just believe that peace is internal, and we're going to get there, okay? And so what I would suggest, if we have steps to get there, we have to examine ourselves. Why don't I have peace? If peace is internal and not external, if I don't have peace, it's because of me, okay? Nothing else, no one else. If I don't have peace of mind, peace of heart, it's because of me. So how do I get there? Well, I would say treat everybody well. Don't do anyone wrong. Don't talk about people. Don't be backbiting. Don't be lying on people. Just be the good person. When you go to work, there's the worst person and then there's the best person. Well, we'll try to be that best person. I don't mean brown-nosing up to the boss or anything like that. I just mean treating everyone. Man, I saw this TikTok video yesterday. They were on a podcast and they're sitting around talking about, and they were talking about how ridiculous it was to go into work and say good morning to folks. Why do you have to come in and say good morning? I'm like, man, because you speaking positiveness into the environment to other people you around, that is just a reflection of what's going on inside of you. We're looking for that peace. You got to be the good person. Recognize you are not the center of the world. And as you begin recognizing and being good to other people, you reap a benefit from that. I'm telling you. So be good to everybody. Don't do anybody wrong. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Be the good one. When you're at work, don't fudge. Don't rip off your company. If you're in charge, don't be mean to the employees. You have to be good. Now you can do it however you want. You can rip off the employer, or you can be mean to the employees, but what we're looking for is a peace of mind, peace of heart. You have to be good. You have to be that person. That person is good, because let's get back to the old, you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. The chickens come home to roost. There is a thing for karma. So the things that you're putting out are the things that you'll receive. And what you're receiving, if that is coming from your heart, that goodness, that peace that you're expressing into everyone's life, your heart will be filled with that same peace. You'll be receiving that. You'll be reaping that peace even within your own heart. Be good. Be nice. Don't cheat. You probably use the Ten Commandments. Don't kill, don't steal, don't want what somebody else has. Take joy in other people's successes, man. I have tried a couple businesses, and my wife and I have a business going on right now. But when I see people who start a business, especially from ground up, man, I am really thrilled for them. And even if I'm not at all interested, for myself in what they're doing, I want to know what they're doing. And I just get joy into listening to people tell me how they built a business, created a business. And they might be struggling, but they have high hopes. And even the ones that become successful, I love to hear their success stories. Find joy in other people's accomplishments. You don't have to be the center. Man, you're going to reap that joy that you're sowing into other people, that interest that you're sowing into other people, that goodness, that's all part of just being good. Always be good. Don't be jealous-hearted, okay? You don't have to be the center. Take pleasure in other people's victories. Now I'm going to deviate a little bit to give an example. When I go to restaurants, man, I'm a very large tipper. It doesn't matter if you're supposed to tip 15%. I'll tip 50%. I don't care. If I have it, if I can afford it, come on, I've tipped sometimes more than the meal cost because I understand this individual is struggling. Okay? That's good. I'm sowing some goodness into their lives. That's emanating from the peace that I have within my heart. And the more peace you sow, the more peace you'll reap. Always be the good guy. And I can almost stop here. You're going to see that. You're going to see this in your life. This is what creates the peace, what type person you are. And recognizing peace doesn't come through things. Peace is internal. And as you begin to sow that internal peace, that internal joy into the lives of others, you're going to be reaping that peace yourself inside. And it really won't matter what your situation is, how terrible your situation is. Now your situation could be pretty terrible, and it could be pretty aggravating, from an external position, and you may be, concerned about it. There's nothing wrong with being concerned about a negative situation because you have to use that concern to think and try to come up with a solution to the issue that you're going through. But you are okay. I remember for a month in my life. Now, this is my adult life, and as I was a mailman, I think I had been a mailman about 15 years or so. We had gotten married. My wife and I had a business. It was just before my daughter was born. So this was about 22 years ago. And we were really rolling. We were making good money, really good life and everything. But my wife wanted to have a child, and she wanted to stop working. I said, you can do that, but our life is going to change. And it changed, man. And we lost everything. Everything. And for a month I was homeless. Now, I want to say we're homeless, my wife was staying with her mother, and she was pregnant with my daughter and all. And I kind of stayed there, but I didn't want to. So what I would do is my mail route, there was a Y on my mail route. And a mailman always uses the bathroom wherever they can on the mail route. So when I'd stop at the Y, I'd go in there and take a shower. And what I ended up doing was I get a membership at the Y for 1 month, which is what I needed. And so every day, since it was on my route, I'd hit the Y at the end of the route, go in there, take a shower, come out. So that's how I lived. So the situation was pretty terrible as far as I was concerned. But I had a peace of mind. And I was going into the juvenile detention center at that time, mentoring kids there. I did that for like 17 years, and I think at this point, I don't know, I was probably about halfway through that. And my wife was, and that's why I betrayed her, I guess. She said, don't tell anybody, about our situation. Man, that Sunday I went in there and talked to the auditorium full of young people, and I told them exactly the situation that I was living in. And what I was expressing to them, that this doesn't mean your life is over. It just means you hit a bump in the road. But the peace was there, such peace that all I thought was, how can I use this to help these young people? So never lose that mindset. Always be in the mindset, no matter how terrible things are, always be one folks can come to for advice. Always give good advice. Never be jealous. Never be harsh. It doesn't matter if people are doing better than you. Support them. Applaud them. Be good. Be the good person. This is where peace comes from. Now this peace is almost like it like self-propels itself. Once you get it started, this is what brings you more peace. It might be hard at first, but this is what's going to bring you peace. So the best way, I guess, if you're not going through a terrible situation right now, this is the time to begin to start this peace thing going, because who knows what tomorrow's going to hold. But if you begin to prepare now, you'll be full of peace when that time comes. Just be full of peace. Be peaceful. Some of us, we pray a lot. If you pray a lot, some of us are religious. If you pray a lot, pray, but quit asking for things all the time. Pray for peace, and then pray for that thing, okay, that you desire. That's okay. But then don't pray for that thing anymore. Just the next day, just give thanks for that thing. So it's not like you're chasing the thing every day, even in your prayer life. God, give me this. God, give me this. God, give me this. No. Pray for it once. God, give me this. But then the next day, be thankful for it. Even, of course, there's no manifestation of it in your life. And you don't even know how it's going to happen. But just give thanks for it. That's what we just read in the Philippians 4:6, is to give thanks. Function in thanksgiving. That's what you're giving thanks, even for the things you don't see that you have, that you know simply just hasn't manifested yet. And that will continue with that peace in you. But if every day you're praying for the same thing and almost in desperation, because this next day you're praying for the same thing, it's simply acknowledging and affirming that your prayer wasn't answered. So you're praying again, you're praying again. So instead of in an attitude of thanksgiving, which produces peace, peace of heart, peace of mind, you're functioning in a place of desperation and begging and asking, please God, please God, please God. It has a total different effect on you. There's no peace in that. There's no peace in begging over and over in desperation for something that hasn't happened yet, but it needs to happen. And what I'm telling you is that's kind of hard, what I'm suggesting right now, because a lot of times we're going through things that are real trying. Like maybe our kids are in trouble, or we are losing our job, or whatever the situation is that might seem terrible. But you need to have a peace of heart. You need to have a peace of mind. It's almost like you are two people, okay? And so that internal part of you is where that peace is. The external part of you, the part that's functioning in the real world. So separate yourself for the moment, just for this analogy. Now look at yourself. You're on an airplane, okay? And there's two seats there. So you have the part of you that's the internal peace part of you sitting in one seat. But then you got the external part of you sitting in this other seat that's having to deal with the real world and real situations. What I'm suggesting is that peace of mind is what helps effectively adjust the situation that our physical reality is going through. When we're functioning in desperation, when you're trying to get a job, or even you're trying to date a girl, or whatever you're trying to do, when you're desperate, it has a different effect, and you're not as convincing. But when you're not desperate, and you have a peace of mind, it's easier to accomplish things even for this external person who you are as well. So picture yourself in those seats on that airplane, and it's going through some turbulence, and those little air masks come down. What do? Do you put it on the external person, or do they put it on you? This is the peace of mind air mask, right? You put it on you. Get your peace together. And you'll be able to think clearly and more effectively and efficiently on how to satisfy the needs of the external part of you. Okay? It's very important. And for those of you who don't pray, meditation, that's a good one. It's just time. All meditation is just quiet time, thinking, meditate, think. Just sit in a quiet place. No light, or not much light, and maybe a pencil and pad next to you. You have something to drink, cup of coffee, cup of tea, or something, to just be quiet for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And just allow your mind to consider things. No desperation. You're just in your chilling time. So really just get comfortable and relax, and just be amazed at how comfortable you can get. Focus on that. And then once you're in that comfortable position, just remain there for like 15 or 20 minutes and let whatever thoughts come across your mind pass your mind. Sometimes I'll have a pad and a pencil next to me, and I'll just write things that I might think about. Those are the internal things that might be focused on external things, but coming to your mind in a peaceful environment, not in a place of desperation. Okay? and then put yourself to Him. Just that peace of mind right there is created in peaceful time. You have to begin to take control. See, and I know it's kind of difficult because we see ourselves as one human being, and no, man, this is just what I'm going through, but try to see yourself as two. You got the side of you that's dealing with the world and the thoughts and the cares and the concerns. And that you got the part of you that is the carrier of that peace. And rather than being led by this frantic individual that you are out here, taking you every kind of which way to try to satisfy whatever you're going through, get yourself in a position where you can be led by this peaceful person in here. And it will have an effect on you. Now, what I'm going to share with you, that's how I function. I function in pretty much complete peace. Now, I'm not saying situations don't arise, but in peace, always trying to help, always giving advice, always giving a good word, because people around you are all the time suffering, and if you listen to them, rather than them listening to you most of the time, they'll begin sharing what they're going through, and based on your life travels, your situation, you might have something to give to them. Give them some of your peace. Give them some of your assurance. Give them that peace that you're holding on to. That peace like it's going to be okay. Or have you thought of maybe trying it this way? And you know, I was speaking to someone recently who was having trouble with their teenage daughter, and just give her, it's going to be all right. You know, I was trying to give her a little verse out of the Bible, you know, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old they shall not depart. That doesn't have to do with sitting in the church. That has to do with recognizing the way of that individual child and helping them along that way. Kind of the same thing. That's how you're creating a peace in your children. Looking at their personality, looking at their way, and leading them in the way of their way. Too often we as parents, we try to impose our feelings, our desires, what I want you to be when you grow up, what kind of classes you need to take, this is what I need you to be. And again, that's not emanating from a place of peace. That's emanating from a place of desperation, from a place of control, from all these negative things, and you're not imparting peace into your children. That's very important for parents. Man, I remember maybe before my daughter left home to go to college, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I took her to the hospital to see a doctor about her vision, you know. And real cool guy, young guy, Indian guy. He couldn't have been 30. He had to have been in his late 20s maybe. Real cool guy. I don't know how we got on the subject. We started talking, and he began to say he didn't even want to be a doctor. He said he was miserable. He said his mother wanted him to be a doctor, and so now he's a doctor, and he hates it. I don't know what he wanted to be, but it was obvious he didn't want to be a doctor, and I'm sure he was a good one. But he wasn't happy, so he didn't have that peace of heart. Because of what he did was forced upon him, and he was a good kid, did what his parents said, and now he's miserable. We as parents, we need to be careful about imposing our desires, you know, on our children. I've seen them at the football fields or the baseball fields, parents screaming at their kid. The parent was not even half as good as their kid was, and they're trying to live their failed sports lives vicariously through their children. Now, I wasn't that kind of dad, but I played baseball for years growing up, Little League. Now, I remember when my son was playing baseball in high school, and I went to the batting cages with him, you know. Now, I'm not one of them overbearing parents. I know baseball, but he was in the batting cage, and he kept missing and missing. It was just me and him. And I said, come on, Mark, you swung too fast. Come on, you swung too late. And I was trying to help him, I'm thinking, but I'm just... Finally, he puts the bat down, takes his hat off, walks over to me, because I'm on the other side of the cage, and he says, Dad, I'm right there. I see what I did. I said, oh, okay. Where he had to express to me that whatever, if I saw that he swung too fast, he was trying to tell me, you think I don't know that? You know, so sometimes we need to stop overbearing over our kids and let them become what they need to become naturally. And that was good, because the reality was my son was a way better batter than I was. I was real good at catching, but I wasn't too good at batting. And I'm sitting there telling him, you swung too fast, you swung too slow. Let him go, let him have his own way. Now, my son is like cut. He's 37 years old. He's successful, college graduate, living in another state. He's built. He runs Reebok challenges. He works out every day. I'm like, geez, this cat, just let them go their own way. And they will succeed. And I think we have to let ourselves go our own way. just take the handles off of ourselves. Take the structure out of ourselves. Quit trying to bend us in a way that we think we should go. And begin to listen to that still small voice in the way that we truly desire to go. There is peace in that. Now, I'm telling you, and I can't tell you any other way than that. I walk in that kind of peace. I live in that kind of peace. I don't have to go out. I don't have to have friends, a whole bunch of friends. And that's a recipe for disaster right there, a whole bunch of friends. Because every human being is dealing with issues like that. And so the more you have, the more variety of issues you have in your circle of relationship. That isn't helping you in your time of peace. Do you have time of peace? No, man. The more peaceful you are, the less you need. And what's interesting, it's almost like a biblical proverb or something, but the less you need, the more you'll acquire. Because and you're acquiring them in a place of peace because you're not acquiring them because you need to. You're acquiring them simply because they're coming. And so what I'm suggesting to you is when you finally find that place of peace, and that place of peace is internal. You won't be swayed by whatever is going around you. That internal peace then will allow you to build and create an environment around you which is a place of peace, okay? Because my peace, I don't know, it's kind of weird now. So let me take you to a point kind of weird, personal, what I go through. Is that I live in this place of peace. I really do. Probably 97 to 99% of my time I'm in a place of peace. And, somebody can kind of grab you out of it, and then you catch yourself and you realize, God, Marty's still in there somewhere, but I haven't seen him in a minute. But anyway, as you're living in that place of peace, you'll be building around you stuff. First of all, you're not spending all this money trying to find peace. And when you have peace, you're making wiser financial decisions, like 401k and, some IRAs and all that kind of stuff. And you're getting to a place, you're building yourself an environment around you that will buffer you. So not only do you have internal peace, you'll be building an environment around you that will have external peace, peace for that external part of you. And that is like the perfect peace. There's no worry in that. Me, with this situation, a financial situation, 20-some, 25, 27 years, I don't know how many years ago it was. But like, so now what do I have? I have like an investment property with a tenant in there on a month-to-month. I live in a nice home, my finances are nice, and I don't think anything is ever going to happen, but if anything ever does happen, she's on a month-to-month. She'll have her 30-day notice. I have a place to live. I have like a few used cars that are in perfect running condition, just in case. So even though I walk in this peace, and my wife was like, that isn't faith, I think it's my kind of peace. I think that when you have a peace of heart truly that emanates from your internal self, you'll be shoring yourself up around you in buffers to maintain a peaceful environment so that stuff doesn't even happen to you. So gosh, how can I put this? I never thought about this before, but if you're frazzled and you have no peace, and all of your seeming peace is coming from your acquisitions, that's not real peace. That's a need. That's a desperation. That's an act that you must have, and that will end up coming inwardly, and that is how you'll be functioning mentally. You'll never have peace. You see these people. You wonder how you could be an actor with all this money, and now I got to go down to Africa and adopt some black babies. Now, I'm just playing. But the point is, why'd you do that? Not that it wasn't a good thing and that baby didn't need it, but why did you do that? Why are you driving these cars at 150 miles an hour down the road, racing them when you're already a multimillionaire because of your successes? Then you crash and you die. I'm just saying, why are you doing these things? because your peace is not from within. Your peace is external, and so you need more and more and more. Not only do I have the fanciest car, now I got to drive at 150 miles an hour. Now I drive 150 miles an hour, I got to be drunk while I'm doing it. You just all these things trying to find a satisfaction, and they're destroying you. But if your peace is emanating from within, that internal peace is beginning to envelop everything around you and be able to create around you an environment that maintains that peace. So not only do you have peace inside, You have peace outside. I know I've said a lot. And try to get this. Watch this program again and try to get something in there. There's something in here for you.